Today is February 27th. It is 6 o'clock or thereabouts. Board of Health for Charlton. We'll call the meeting to order. First order of business. Oh, I'm sorry. Tonight we have Catherine Beer. Matt is not here, not able to attend tonight. Gary Magnuson is here, and Jim Philbrook as well. We do have prior meeting minutes from January 23rd. Catherine, I don't know if you've had a chance to read them, but if you have,
I did. I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
Okay, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That passes. Thank you very much. On to new business. Maynard Field Snack Shack Tight Tank. From what I understand, and you can fill me in if otherwise, I don't believe we have any additional new plans or anything else from
Back
that.
to you, Mr. Chairman, it's back to the drawing board. They're gonna
Okay, all right.
they're gonna do a different plan of attack, and they will let the board know, but I don't believe that a tight tank would require it. If it is, the board would certainly have to approve it, but I spoke with Andrew, and it's back to McClure.
McClure Engineering.
To look at something different.
Okay.
And it's also from the building commissioner. What they wanted to do, he wasn't going to allow, so.
Okay, good. So we'll keep that on here for now, but in the meantime, it won't be discussed tonight. Next up for new business is blighted properties. And Jim, I spoke with you briefly on this week, but I'll let you go ahead and fill the board in as far as, oh, nice.
I'll give a brief synopsis.
Yeah.
We sent everyone letters to inspect. No one denied us entry. We did get on some properties with no owners there. Most of the properties are either applied for to tear them down through the building department. The one over here is actually, the plan, as you can see, the plans there is for 40 units, so that will be part of that being torn down.
Is that North Main Street?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
And the other ones are actually working on spending money to fix them. They've all come in except for one person, which I'll be speaking to, paid their taxes. They're in good standing, so it did get
Good.
people motivated. And one house, a woman has $100,000 put aside, and she's going to bring it up to par. She's already had some work done, and basically, I think with even out going to the Attorney General's office, it has motivated people to notice that their properties are in need of it, and they recognize that they need to do something. So, if anything, it woke people up, and I think we should hold off, because I don't believe these houses would even qualify for that, because they're too far gone.
Right.
Like the one on, and I don't want to speak specifically on a property without having anyone here, so
Right.
I think you can see for yourself that some of them are too far gone, and they would have to be torn down. So.
Right, that's certainly what it looks like. And then, of course, there's the other three houses that are in the midst of construction,
Yes.
which is new residences, so.
And they're going to be a transfer sale
Right.
on a lot of them. It's just pending.
So the original developer has sold that to somebody else who's now gonna take it and
Yes.
get them completed.
Here's Matt. Can I answer this, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, of course.
Hi, Matt. I have you on speaker.
Hey, great. Jim, do you mind if I listen in on the conversation?
No, absolutely not. Matt will be here for the record. Are you on, Matt?
Bad connection.
Matt, is that you?
Yeah, that's me.
Okay,
All right.
well, you're on, Matt.
Okay.
I'll get my other phone to call the other person.
Thanks for joining, Matt. Really, all we did was we kind of put the snack shack on the back burner while we await additional information and a plan change from McClure Engineering. So you didn't miss much there. Jim was just showing us some of the photos from the blighted properties. There were 8, and we've had real good success on all 8 as far as I can see. Whether the taxes are now up to all the taxes now?
No, there's a few.
Okay.
I'll update the board at the next meeting where we're at, but they're in the process of being transferred, and they can't transfer them until they pay the taxes anyway, so.
Okay. So it sounds like good news on getting some of these properties either demolished or refurbed or completed as some of the new construction. Three of the 8 are new construction. So That's good. Anything else on that, Jim? Thank you for the photos, by the way.
No, I just wanted to update, I did go to all the properties and take photos with some with the owners, some without the owners, but they did not respond or deny me entry. As you can see, some of them are just not completed,
Right.
and he plans on transferring sale of that when he takes ownership. The lender actually is the one. So you can see some of them are just too far gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just, but I worry about having the oil tanks in there and
Yeah.
removal of certain items. But like I said, if you look at those plans there, I think that's part of that 40 units that are going in on the corner of Old Worcester, not Old Worcester Road, but right on North Main Street.
Yeah, I
there.
know which. I used to take that side street,
Yeah.
but the pavement was so bad, I stopped doing it.
It's doing
Actually,
so if anything, it motivated people to be aware that the properties. So I don't think it's necessary that the board act that they need to go to the attorney general's. I wouldn't
Right.
recommend any of
No.
them at this point.
I wouldn't either. Not, at least not now. I'm assuming there'll be some follow-up as we hear back from.
Yeah, if the things get to worse, I would recommend always it's the board's decision whether they would release that because it's your authority. Which,
Right.
as right now, I wouldn't recommend the board take any action on any of them because I think it just motivated people getting the letter to move. That's all.
Okay, good. So nothing else on the blighted properties?
No, that's it for now, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. We'll move on then. Review and approval of Charlton Hauler regulations. So this is rules and regulations for removal, transport, and disposal of solid waste or recyclables in the town of, excuse me, in the town of Charlton. This draft is dated January 2024. There, to my knowledge, I believe that the vast majority of this is just carryover information that we've had.
Sure.
There were some minor changes, updates to dates, and there were some comments that were put in here. But
The penalties is new also.
I'm sorry, yeah, the penalties, and I believe that was in red when I saw it online. So the penalties are first offense is a warning, second offense $100, third offense $200, subsequent offenses $300. So if this is, the penalties are if the permitted hauler fails to follow regulations as put forth by this board. So there were no penalties prior to this? It was just...
The state would mandate, but they were very low. I think it was $25 to $50 for each 48 hours of the violation. This just brings everything up to where, most landfills are closing, and they were worried about the waistband. Mattresses now cost, tires.
Oh, yeah.
So Charlton was fortunate enough to get in with Spencer and with Webster, but Spencer is a very good, I think that it's going to allow our, as you can tell you, she's going to be able to get some points for grants now that we have that contract with Spencer where you can bring stuff there. And I think it worked out well that Peter Bory is over there and in charge. So, but that has been signed and sealed. And the town's going to be responsible for some of the money if you went and you have to pay the town would pay the second half of that. I think there's only between 100 and 200 people that even utilized Oxford.
Yeah.
So they're anticipating that maybe even lower. But at least it's there and it's offered and we have to have it. So we're working on a couple other things with household hazardous waste day and stuff. But they do take in stuff at Spencer, which allows people to go there with things.
So as a Charlton resident, let's say I had a couch and an old TV or something, and my trash hauler would not take it. If I went up there, do I need to do anything special other than show my license and give them some cash?
You'd have to pay for.
Yes.
And I believe, how much is it for?
Day pass for $10.
$10 for the day pass.
Okay.
And then you gotta pay
Ahead
for the
of time,
part.
I believe.
I think it's
all right,
50.
okay.
Right,
So,
don't you have to do that ahead of time?
Yeah, you'd have to call them
Yeah.
okay.
and let them know that you have a couch.
All right, so this is still being finalized, I'm assuming, and then there'll be some sort of a message either on our website or the town website?
It's already on
It's
there.
on there, okay.
Spencer
I
website.
haven't seen it yet.
It's
Good.
been finalized with the
Spencer.
selectmen and with
Yeah.
Spencer
Okay.
and through Andrew, and
Good.
it's usable. And Webster's also usable,
Right.
so.
Yeah, I visited it on Saturday, because I grew up in Spencer, but I didn't know about this now. And it seemed very nicely run. They have a yard waste area, They have a little swap area, and they have all the usual recycling area and trash drop-off.
Okay. So it's a $10 day pass you have to get in advance, and then depending on what you're taking in, there's an additional charge for that.
It seems to make sense to do the $50 a year. I mean, you can go there, what, twice a week?
Yep.
Oh,
Twice a
okay.
week
Yeah.
for a
Oh, all
year.
right.
Free trash, you can drop off a big
Mhm.
article, so, you know,
So-
I hope to get that too for, you know, special things.
So let's say, I'll take myself as an example. I don't have a lot of things like old couches or whatever. And trash, 3 or 4 relatively small bags, I think they're 13-gallon bags, and then some recyclables. So if I were to say, you know what, I'm gonna try Spencer, it's a $50 yearly fee, and then what happens when I take up 3 or 4 bags of trash and maybe a big bag of
You
recyclables?
just buy the bags.
Yeah.
Oh, all right,
The
okay.
supermarkets and a few other stores in Spencer
Alright.
sell
Big
them.
Y,
Oh,
Price
okay.
And there's
Chopper,
Alright.
2 sizes,
Yeah.
smaller.
Clem's.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, okay. And what color are they? Because I know
That I
Brookfield is
don't know.
blue. Everything, when I go.
Yellow?
I think they're yellow.
Yellow.
I lived in Spencer
I'm sure
for
it's,
years.
that's
Pretty
why I
sure
asked,
yellow.
I'm sure it's gotta be a different color
I think
because.
it's yellow, yeah.
I think they're bright yellow.
All right. And what's the cost of the bag? I'm only asking that because I've got it.
She told me, and I don't recall, I don't
$2 or
remember, but we
$3
have,
probably.
whatever the publicity blurb that went out from the town
Yep.
talked about that. And
Okay.
Irene
I'll look it up.
Parkin, who should be on soon,
I have to call
she
her.
knows that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to call her on the phone. When the chairman's ready, I have to call her.
Yeah,
and She
yeah.
can explain if you want.
We're close. We're at 6:12 if I had a watch.
Did you
or a
want
phone.
Gary to go first, or do you want me to call Irene?
Gary, you know what? Let's start with Gary. Is that okay?
It's up to you, Mr. Chairman. I'm just
No,
saying.
go ahead. You're here because
It might-
Gary, you know, when you're
Irene
done.
likes to talk.
There's,
So-
yeah, there's no sense in keeping you here for
Yeah.
an hour plus.
I'll keep it real short and quick. So what's going on? The capping project, everything's moving smoothly. I did reach out to Jim and Andrew last week. Andrew was away. We have to work on a boundary agreement on the northern part of the landfill. Jim is working with me and Andrew on that, and with the homeowner, the property owner. There's just the deeds don't line up, and it's basically a property line agreement says we, the town, agree that this is the property line, and we, the homeowner, agree this is the property line. All the documents support it. It's just it's not locked up tight. So you want both parties. So it's no big deal. That I believe, has that gone to town council yet? Jim, do you know?
I'm not sure. I have to speak to Andrew. I'm not positive on that if it has.
It's in the work. We're working
the
on
works,
it. It's
yeah.
not a big deal.
Okay.
So that's being
Good.
done. I'll work on that access agreement now that we are close. So I'll get the access agreement pulled together. Our report is due to, our closure plan is due to DEP in May. We'll be coming back to you probably next meeting with just a discussion again. I might bring Bruce in, or we'll bring some plans in to talk. The stormwater design's done, the capping design is pretty close. Just need to clean a few things up. I think the most important thing is we did install the landfill gas points.
Mhm.
The installation went well. We installed 13 of them on the landfill proper side, and we installed 4 on the residential side of Flint Road.
So 17 total.
17 total. The DEP had mandated that we install them and then test the landfill gas within 7 days, and then again within 30 days. We tested the landfill gas, and we did detect an exceedance that required DEP notification. That exceedance was the LEL, the lower explosive limit. If you're more than 25% of that, we're at 32%, I believe, in one soil gas point, essentially at the old where the gate is to that landfill. Fortunately, I had put a soil gas point directly across the street, literally right across the street. That one had nothing in it. And we expected to find landfill gas there. That's why we put those in, because when we did the test bits, we found landfill debris.
Right.
With landfill debris, there could be gas. If there's gas, it affects how we design that cap. Do we pull that waste back? Do we put a cap? So the second batch of tests, we also detected an exceedance in that same well and in that monitoring point, and the next one down. Again, we have points across the street, nothing across the street. No surprise, nothing, but it does require a notification letter to DEP. I talked to Jim on the first one before I sent that in. Jim said, okay, we sent it in. I neglected to talk to Jim on the second one because I thought I'd just implied that if we found it the first time, we'll find it the second time. So I sent the letter in and Jim gave me a polite call. What's this? I said, I am sorry, this is the same notification. So everything is good with that. We've DEP hasn't had any comment on it. This is very typical. And Bruce is very happy that we have this data, so we're incorporating that into the design. So everything's good there. PFAS testing is ongoing. We had to, I talked to you guys last time, extend the testing down Dresser Hill Road because of some detections on Dresser Hill Road. We have been trying to formulate an argument and an opinion that homes that just have one detection of one component, primarily either PFAS or PFOA, they might not be related to the landfill, whereas the ones that have multiple detections are more consistent with what we found in the landfill. And unfortunately, the ones that we found on Dresser Hill Road that, of course, are at the edge had the 3 or 4 compounds. So the technical argument just doesn't hold. So we've extended. We have had good response from the citizens. I think we have 1 more or 2 more to sample. People are receptive, they're polite, they're letting us in their houses, they're asking a lot of questions. But I don't have, I think I only have 1 of those bits of data. I haven't contacted you because it's not an issue yet. So we have 5 more out there, so I may be reaching out. The treatment systems are working, the ongoing testing is working. That's essentially what's going on with the landfills.
How many additional houses on Dresser Hill Road?
6.
6.
10. Farthest one down now is 104, 95, 98, 99, 101, 102, and 104.
They just provided water to 95?
85.
I think it's 85. I think it was 85. They're going the other way. I can tell you because I texted you with it. But so yeah, not a lot of. That's the only new water emission we've had in
Oh, wow.
a month or 2.
You say that.
So the other thing I can say is the homes that we have been testing, we're in the 3rd quarter on a lot of those, and they're all pretty consistent. We are seeing some fluctuations, but nothing surprising.
Good.
So that's my report, and I'll take any questions. Oh, I do have one other thing to add. Jim just informed me that the state has come up, and I'll let you speak to that, some potential funding for PFAS.
Mr. Chairman, I had Kim take a class today, and she informed me that they were notifying local municipalities that have a landfill that are small municipalities to assist them with closure of a landfill with PFAS. As far as grants, is over $400 million. So I did speak to Andrew, so Kim's going to get all that information together. We're going to see what we need to do to try and alleviate the taxpayer, and maybe we can get a grant on some of this.
And that would assist with putting in, well, the cost of
Filtration.
testing, but also the POET systems.
I'd have to see. I'm not familiar with that
Okay.
new.
Yeah, it's
brand
new.
It's brand new. So
I'm getting ahead. I'm just trying to think positively.
well, if it's associated with a landfill capping, it's all tied together.
Yeah.
So it really will depend on the language in the document.
Right.
I told Jim I would
And it
review and help.
specifically stated that it was for municipalities with closures of landfills. So what better?
I think we
We
qualify.
fit that.
I think we
I think we
qualify.
qualify.
I mean, any amount of money would help. If it's even just for PFAS, it's still a lot of money that's costing.
sure.
to, so any way
That's
we as a
news I've
department,
heard
Board of Health
already.
can help. I talked to Andrew, he said, go for it, and if you see what happens, that's all we can do, so.
Who writes the grant proposals here?
We do as a team, we write them.
Okay.
And I offered my support and whatever you guys need.
Yeah, we'd probably need data from Gary and
Right.
stuff, so we'd have to make sure we have someone on board.
Andrea's over there making. Hi.
Hi. I was looking at the time. So
Oh.
we told her we
Oh, yeah, right, yeah, we're getting
were-
close.
I just emailed her. She's good.
Oh, all right, okay, good, thank you.
Should be outstanding. Anyway, I'll keep the board updated as, and if anything does occur, I think it would have to come from the chair anyway, as far as an application for, because the landfill, the board is in charge of the closure of landfill, so it would come from the board and through the engineer, so.
Right, but that's good news, I mean, that's potential.
Matt, you still with us?
I'm with you.
Okay.
All right, good.
I saw it go black, I wanted to make sure.
Gary, before we let you go and we move on, first of all, is there anything else for Gary?
No, I talk to Gary quite often, so.
Good.
He's
All
probably
right.
sick of me calling, but.
Are there any weeks, any Tuesdays coming up in 3 or 4 weeks that don't work for you? Just so after you leave, when we do schedule our next meeting.
Thank you for asking.
If you
I
can-
I have another night meeting on the 12th that I'm not available.
Okay.
I kind of need, we absolutely had to have me here. I could change that, but I'm supposed to be in the Berkshires for a night meeting. That's the only one on a Tuesday,
Okay.
all the way until, yeah. That's the only
Okay.
one. Okay?
Yes, perfect.
Thank you for asking.
Thank you for knowing that.
I don't know it. The phone knows it.
Yeah.
The calendar knows it.
Right. All right. Well, thank you very much, Gary. We'll let you get out of here if you want. You're more than welcome to stay, but
Mr. Chairman, can I call Irene Congdon now?
yes, please go ahead, Jim. Thanks again, Gary.
Thanks so
Be
much.
well. Thank you. I'll move on.
Deb, are you going to be throwing in 2 cents into this
I don't
conversation?
think so. I think that little bit I talked about, because I visited the land, Spencer.
Okay.
The recycling center, but this is really Irene's area. She knows
Yeah.
it well.
Okay. I just didn't want to bypass you if you were.
No, Irene Congdon.
Irene Congdon, this is Jim Philbrook, the Charlton Health Director. How are you?
Good.
Sorry, a little late. I know Andrew updated you, but I have you on, with your permission, I'll put you on speakerphone for our board, which is in the
Yeah.
meeting right now.
And that
John,
we're also being recorded for
Yep, that's
video,
fine.
video and audio. So.
John Sanborn is the chairman, so I'll turn you over to him.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for making yourself available for this, because you're certainly more of an expertise than we are, Irene.
I'm here to help you, so I can introduce myself and then I can tell you some of the new changes that have been going on.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, I'm Irene Congdon. I'm the Regional Recycling Coordinator for all of Central Massachusetts with the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection. And the town of Charlton received a technical assistance grant from Mass DEP to transition you from the Casella contract that you had to something new. So we were hoping, and we waited a really long time because the Board of Selectmen felt Casella wanted to kind of keep the transfer station open to Charlton residents, and then in late November they said, "Oh no, that's not going to work." So we were going to be going to a paid program at the Oxford Transfer Station, Casella's operation, and they said no to that at the last minute. So then we worked with the town of Spencer to do an intermunicipal agreement. And that's a contract that the town of Spencer and Charlton have signed, that the Charlton residents can now participate at the Spencer transfer station as acting as a Spencer resident. So they can go and get a sticker at the DP, it's at the water department right there, pretty much across the street from McDonald's. It's just a little up the road there, right on 31. And it's, and the transfer station is like behind McDonald's right there in the center of Spencer. We get a sticker, and the sticker, how we made the thing, it's just like a resident in Spencer pays, it's $30 for the half year, because we got them in January, and $60 for the full year. So starting in July, it'll be a $60 fee. The town is doing a little subsidy in that whoever gets a sticker, the town pays $25 per resident, but you won't see that. That will be through the tax base. So it's not a blanket cost. It's just whoever gets a sticker. And then if there's also a day pass. So anybody in Charlton can get a day pass, and they can go to the water department, get the pass, and then go to the transfer station and use it. And then the Charlton through taxes is also paying $10 for each of those passes, and that gives people a lot of. You can utilize the entire facility, which is a pay-as-you-throw program. So people pay for what you use. So if you only have one kitchen bag, it's $1.25. You get by them in a roll of 5 at Big Y, the Price Chopper, Clem's and Spencer, and you just bring them there, the green pay-as-you-throw bags. But they also have the yard waste. They have a space for the bulky waste. They have a swap shed, metal and electronics. Some things have items, like small bulky items are like $5, medium $10, $15 for large stuff. Mattresses are $35. So everything is on the website, and the Charlton website, and on the Spencer website, listing this all out. So this is new. It really just officially started January 23rd. We were hoping it would have been a little quicker, but and this agreement is for 3 years. So this is something new for the town of Charlton. Your residents now have a place to go that is pay per bag. And by having a pay per bag program, you are eligible for, and part of the technical assistance grant that the town received was a separate grant for going pay as you throw. And that means for how many households do participate. I think right now it is still very low because of we haven't done a big mailer. I think there's less than 100 households that are participating right now, but hoping to get the word out that, hey, we want to save money, and that this is the town's program. They have a contract for this. The town's grant is, we have to have the deadline for all material in is coming up here is March 15th. So that's one of the reasons why we're meeting is a prerequisite for the grant is that they have an updated hauler regulation. So that's why we're here today. You all have, the town Board of Health in Charlton has a hauler permit that you give out to the different vendors that come in and do private subscription. We have it's been now about 8 years, maybe a little less than that. Before COVID, we went and did a big study on all the different types of hauler regulations that are out there, and we put together the best practice documents, and we had gone to all the haulers and said, hey, what about this? And a lot of times that they were saying, it's good to have something that levels the playing field. That sometimes we've had a couple that just has, like, you have one page for your permit, and then you were using the Mass General Law as your
Guide.
your regulation, and others had like a 30-page document, you know. So it was kind of crazy going from each town, everybody a bit different, and some would be following the waistband laws. So I don't know how many people know about the waistband laws already.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so waistband laws are the items that are not allowed to be put in the trash. So since 1993, we have pretty much said, no, you cannot throw out car batteries. You cannot throw out cardboard. You cannot throw out tires. You can't throw out just scrap metal that can't go into the landfills or the waste to energy facilities. They need to be properly recycled. So we've been adding through the years of 1 or 2 items. We really took a long breath. Some of them are like last November or 2022, we added the mattresses, the textiles, and food waste if you generate 1,000 pounds of food waste a week. So residents definitely do not qualify for that.
No.
But if they're a supermarket and they're a housing facility that is feeding people, then they would qualify and need to be composting and looking at their food differently. It just can't go into the waste energy facility or the landfill. So we have those on the books, but we are different in that we're a commonwealth and not a state. So in a state, they just say, this is the rule, everybody follows it. In a commonwealth, we need the communities to each say, this is what we're following. So right now, we've been enforcing on DEP's level is if we see a big truck that comes through at the waste energy facilities or the landfills or the regional transfer stations, when we do inspections, we'll tag them and fine them if we see more than a certain amount. Like, nobody's allowed to have a lead battery. And there are certain items, like if you put a refrigerator on the floor to throw it out, that will be taken out automatically. But there is certain diminishes, like so much food waste, so much cardboard, so much plastic bottles and things like that, that if you reach this, you'll get a fine, or if the whole thing is food waste, we'll tell you to pick it all up and take it to a different facility. But that's at the end of the pipeline. It's really about getting it beforehand. So having a hauler regulation where it says, hey, everybody needs to follow the waste ban laws. We've had them in place since 1993. Every place has a place for cardboard. There is a place for your recyclables. The haulers can't just say, we don't have a place to take them. Right? We have a very good infrastructure in Massachusetts, and they can pretty much go in 30 miles in any direction. The hauler will find a material recycling facility. So such as in Auburn or in Springfield, where they can take their material. The other thing is that we have some vendors that will only give you, they'll say, oh, trash is one, but I don't need to give you a recycling container. And it's just like, no, we need to follow waste bans. You need to give me the other bin. So what we call is bundled pricing. We know that there's a service, there is a charge for recycling. We're not saying free recycling. The hauler needs to receive its money. It's just they can't, one hauler, most of your haulers that have been in place for a long time have given all of their customers 2 bins. So when you drive around Charlton, you see that somebody has a 96-gallon trash bin and a 96-gallon recycling bin. So they're already providing that, but sometimes they might say, oh, recycling's an extra cost. And so then the resident goes, well, if it's an option, then I won't take it. And it's just like, well, then you're making that resident not in compliance with the waste ban laws. So we want bundled pricing for the resident. And then we say commercial, and sometimes the residents, multifamilies, fall into commercial. So you see in certain places, they only have a dumpster. So the condo association just has a dumpster for trash. They don't have a place to go for their cardboard. Everybody's getting so many deliveries of their house with all this cardboard, and they don't have a place to take it. Now they can go to Spencer, but the objective is that wherever you drop your trash, you drop your recyclables. If you make it inconvenient, then people won't use it.
Right.
So that's what we're asking today is updating your hauler application to include following the waistband laws and bundled pricing for residential and commercial. And then to follow that through is to have the draft hauler the full hauler regulations approved. Any questions? I know it's kind of strange when I'm not there, but
It's all right. You're well spoken, and we can hear you loud and clear. I guess my question, Jim, is what she was just recently saying, just in the last couple of minutes. Is that in here so that we're covered as far as what the
Pretty much.
regulations are? Yes.
Most of, I would say, driving around, that everyone has a recycling bin.
Okay.
That's not picked up, maybe every other week is recycling, and every week is trash.
Right. That's how
So,
mine works.
so it's a couple times a week. It does increase your cost, but when they file for the permit, they have to offer recycling, and usually they're supposed to submit the tonnage to us and their customer, who it is, and we have that on file.
Okay.
So we give them a permit. But this is consistent, and I think everything in here is fair, and it's just standard, and I don't think it's gonna change much, other than we have the ability to write a ticket. And in this department, we don't write tickets unless we give warnings anyway, and usually everyone's compliant. But this does really, because landfills are closing, and like you said, Casella closed, and we have to have something, and I think this is a solid regulation that's consistent across the Commonwealth of Mass, so. And it has all the laws that are in there, 150A, 31, 31A, they're all in there, so. I usually write after any and all laws that may apply, just to cover, but I think they're all in there. So I did read this quite a few times, and I think it's nothing out of the ordinary that someone's gonna be shocked that they have to make any changes. All this is already occurring. But it does make sure that people aren't getting rid of stuff that, with the waistband
Right.
that's in effect now. So we're trying to get people, and we've been working with the DEP and a lot of people that aren't complying with stuff that are way above and beyond just taking in stuff and scrapping and doing stuff that doesn't comply, including the collection of oils and boats and cars and stuff. But I don't see any problem with this unless the board does. But all we did was change the date on here, because we do permitting at the first of the year.
yep,
So that, we did change that, just to let you know.
okay. Yeah, approval is, by doing that, just so you know, you're fine for the grant, for the pay-as-you-throw grant, but the newest grant that's coming out, I will look to see, normally we have it that it's been approved, but if it's implemented, I will check on that. You might not be able to get the full credit for fiscal year 25, but because you're not officially starting it until January 2025. So you might not be able to just get another point or so. We have a recycling dividend program. It's a separate from your pay-as-you-throw grant that we're doing here now in March. That one is for June. So by having it starting in January, which is fine, I just want you to be aware that you might just lose a point or two. But that's okay, because you don't have it yet. So it's not losing it. You're just going to wait to receive that point.
Irene, this is Jim Philbrook. Only because we do all our permitting at the first of the year.
Yep.
If we adopted this regulation, we could just notify them. They would still have a permit, but the rules and regulations have changed, and they need to abide by them. Would that still be without? Because we can't charge them again.
Yeah,
They've
no,
already paid for a sticker.
It's perfectly fine. Like, if they know about it, and you can say, hey, this is you don't have to fill out the forms until then. It's nice. I can give you points if it is, I mean, you can consign it and say, but it's officially starting, or the renewal process permit starts at this date.
Yeah, because we do it through Permitize. We have a program.
Yeah, that should be okay. I will
Okay.
look more into that, of how that you can definitely get the pay-as-you-throw point. I just want to be able to give you the enforcement of that. So if they know about it, because you want, after you do this, approving it, you want them to be aware of it, that, hey, it's coming, you know?
Sure.
And like you said, most everybody is in compliance. I think the people that are non-compliant might be some of your multifamily or some of the smaller businesses. And then that's where you can also talk about education of, like, one person just has a mattress. If they call the hall, their private hauler right now, some of them are charging $100.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to do a big education in April, May, to everybody about this Spencer opportunity. But if the hauler knows about it too, that could also help, you know, in education and being like, oh, the residents now have an ability that if they have overflowing trash, they can go get a pay to throw bag for that.
Mhm.
If they have more cardboard because they're moving in, they can do that. And if they have these bulky items, they could also use the Spencer facility for a day pass or get the whole year pass. And they can do both. They can have the curbside program and the drop-off if they want.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything else, Irene?
No, I'm just so excited about Charlton having access and residents.
So are we. I'm sure there's plenty of people who have looked at the financial aspect of this, and I know I saw some folks here in town at the Oxford transfer station, and they are in the far end of Charlton, far southern. So
Yeah.
I'm just, because that's where I used to live too, and I gotta believe it's gotta be about a 12 or 14 mile drive there, and they were going there every week, I think. But
Yeah,
for them it worked.
And if you have a small thing like in Webster, it is $5 a bag. So that is a little more pricier, but you don't pay the flat fee. You don't pay anything. Just show up and pay that amount per bag.
Right.
There is more options in a swap shed and yard waste, and some hazardous items like mercury items and latex paint at Spencer. So there are some more opportunities to dispose of things properly.
Good. I like that. Catherine, anything for Irene or any other questions?
Nope.
In general? No?
Nothing from me.
Matt, how are you doing there? Were you able to hear everything?
Yeah, I heard everything crystal clear. I don't have any questions, John. Thank you.
Okay. So next steps here, if we're good. Matt, have you had a chance to read these? It's multi-page rules and regulations that I don't know where you are or what you've been able to ascertain from these, but have you been able to review these already? This draft
No,
proposal?
I didn't, John. The only thing I saw was the Charlton regs where we had some changes in red. I saw those, but that was
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, well, I think that's what this is, right?
Yes.
This isn't a color,
Yeah.
but yeah, this.
Yeah, we-
So what you've got, I think, is what we're looking at here.
I did review that, yes.
Okay. So, Irene, what do you need from us tonight?
I just need you to approve it and give it to the board of select, give it to Andrew,
Okay.
so then he can include it in the grant that needs to be handed in by March 15th.
Okay. So it sounds like then, Matt, are you ready to, if we do make a motion, are you ready to vote on this?
Yeah, I can vote on that.
Okay.
So, should I make a motion to
Sure.
accept the rules and regulations for removal, transport, and disposal of solid waste or recyclable in the town of Charlton with the accepted changes previously discussed and noted in the document?
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's unanimous. We are good to go.
Wonderful.
Yes. So, do you also need I assume we're gonna need a signed copy, and I just found that on
Come in and
the,
sign, John.
what's that?
Matt as the vice chair, and yourself would need to sign.
Right. Okay. So I can sign mine. Actually, I may need a fresh copy because I
Yeah.
kinda drew a little bit on the first page. I don't think as an
Probably
official
one
document.
with, probably one without the notes section on the side.
Yeah, without the,
Yeah, the changes,
Just-
the track changes.
so we can stamp it as an official
Okay.
document.
And
Now-
I'll leave you guys with one website, which is great, and I think you actually have it on your Charlton website as well.
We do.
Is for all state recycling questions. So if people live in condos, they live in apartments, they live single family, they have private subscription, they're using the Spencer transfer station, all of what can be recycled is on recyclesmartma.org. So I'll do it one more time. recyclesmartma.org. And it has graphs, nice posters in all different languages. There is a recyclopedia that has over 700 items in there that people say, well, what about a plastic cup? A paper cup? So I always get that about the plastic cup. If it's a red Solo cup, it's actually made of styrofoam. It is not recyclable at the curb or at the drop-off. That is trash. But if it's a clear cup, like your Dunkin' Donuts iced coffee, if that's rinsed, it doesn't need to be washed, just rinsed and emptied, then that can be put into. So sometimes there's the nuances that change. And so all those details are on that website. So people can just be very basic. Hey, if it has a lid, I rinse it and I can recycle it. If I rip it, I can recycle it, and that could be just that simple. But if they want to go into the details of, oh, what about this and what about that? I just saw this. It's all on recyclesmartma.org.
Okay, very good. And since we have
If any
that,
other questions about trash recycling, always welcome to call me.
okay, and I know Jim's got your number. It's got it written down right
It
here.
could be dangerous.
Irene, thank you very much. We'll follow through with this and get you what you need.
Okay, thank you so much. Have a wonderful night.
All
Thank
right,
you, Irene.
thank you, Irene.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Deb, are you leaving?
Yes.
For the record, Deb Marquis is leaving the room.
And Irene Congdon is now not with us.
Now,
And
now
thank
it's-
you all very much for going through.
Thank you
this.
for, yes,
Thank you
thank
for all you
you
do.
for coming.
Spend your Saturday in
Yes,
Spencer.
that's right. Oh, okay, so before I forget then, Jim, I did a little, not doodles, but I marked this up a little
No,
bit, so.
like Catherine said, we can't have this on the side.
Oh, all
Yeah,
right, okay.
Yeah.
Andrew's
So-
gonna print up, so you and Catherine.
If you just turn off the track changes, it should come off the side.
Okay.
So all three members need to sign.
Oh,
So
all
we'll
right.
have Matt. And Matt, are you available to stop by tomorrow or something?
Yeah, I'll sign that.
Okay.
Good. So you're not in Illinois or
No, I have a
Fiji?
planning board meeting tonight in Ocam.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, good, thank you for calling in and being a part of this, because that's gonna help speed this along on its way. And it'll be a benefit for our board and the town and the environment. How's that? Triple
What
crown.
we're all about. That's our
Yeah.
mission statement.
Yeah, love it. All right. While we're, I think we're all set with new business and old business. Department head reports, Jim? We'll let you get back from the copier and then.
This thing has a mind of its own, so we may take a minute.
Yeah, if it's like mine, it's, yeah, it thinks about it, then you get back and sit, and then it'll start up again. It's awful.
I'll come get it in a minute. I'll start my reports for a matter of time. As you know, we have Emily Quinn that's been working,
Yes.
a lot of training going on. We've been, a lot of classes. We did, together with Kim and Emily, we did about, I think we did 9 inspections. And I've been going around making sure that everyone's inspected and doing some training, because in the field inspections is where Emily needs some training, as well as Kim's been doing a lot longer, but she's our regional inspector, and people don't see Mary Coppern that often. She's downstairs, which
Right.
she's doing a great job. I did issue an order of condemnation. I can't mention the address, but I will speak to you after, Mr. Chairman, about it. It was ordered by the doctor from the hospital, who had noticed that they sent over a social worker to check the house, And I do have the pictures for the board to look at. And
Okay.
I issued a temporary order, and his family is, they were very impressed. Erin, who's the one that notified us, she works for, patients that come in to make sure that when they're sent back home, that they certainly are in a safe environment. But as you can see here, I'll give this to you, Catherine, that she was very impressed by this board acting so quickly. His family is going to assist him in getting the house back in order. It's very addressable. But as you can see, there are some issues with safety in the building, so I went there and posted on the building. So,
Good.
so we certainly, I spoke to her. It's called Open Sky, actually, and they do a very, very good job. So Erin, I spoke to her last night, and she was thanking us for acting. So in the best interest of the person when they go home, that the place is safe to live in. So,
Sure.
and I think they're going to take care of it by this weekend. Get a company and do the cleaning, do some sheetrocking, and make it safe. So just want to let you know that.
And were there kids involved with this?
No, there are no children involved,
Okay.
and it's
That's right.
certainly Mary helped. Mary Carpenter, that's one of the jobs we have a community health coordinator, and that's one of the advantages that Charlton having someone like this. We help a lot of people, making sure they're safe and follow through on making sure we have an alternative. She's in a grant writing class right now for the next 3 days, so we're going to apply for as many grants as possible to continue to provide services. So moving forward, we also still have the 2 COVID nurses that are working for us, and the state would like us to keep on for another year.
Interesting.
So I spoke with Andrew about it, and if we don't do it, another town's going to benefit from it. So with the board's permission, we would keep them on. It's highly advantageous. So hopefully they can change the job description so we can have them do a little more to help out during flu clinics and stuff like that.
That'd be
But you have
nice.
to be careful how they cross over. And also, they're most likely going to be assisting to put seats and stuff in the van so we can utilize the van more often to assist more people. Right now, we just have
2
1
seats?
seat, 2 seats, so it's very difficult. Even when I take Kim and Emily, if we would like to go in one vehicle during our inspections, we certainly can't do that right now with the van. So it looks like they may approve for us to upgrade the van to allow more seating and to get a nurse's station in the back also.
So regarding the van, Jim, is that also the charging is going well on, because I know it's electric, it's all electric.
Yep, Andrew installed 2 charging ports in the back, and the van holds a charge perfectly. You have to worry about it when it's cold. The battery, we tested to see if it would drop down, but it didn't, and it's stayed pretty good, pretty well. I just need to find a place to wash it because it's so high. I can't go through a car wash, so I need to find somewhere where we can
Bring it over.
wash the
Bring it
van.
over to my house.
It's just too big. So
We'll get you a step ladder.
certainly that's going to be a help. And like I said, Mary does a great job. Emily, Andrea, Kim, we all work together as a good team, and along with Gary, because Gary's very instrumental in our closure of our landfill and making sure that people are safe. And we just want you to know that when they identify that there's PFAS in the water, they receive bottled water within the hour because we store it at the
That's
DPW.
right.
So, and
That's
then we
nice.
get them on the list. But if we can find grants to alleviate some of that cost, especially with filtration systems going
Oh,
in,
yeah.
maybe we can do more filtration
Yeah.
rather than bottled water.
Oh, sure.
And so we're hopeful, and that would come forward. So again, the blighted properties, we've been busy, but just inspections and working with people to make sure that they're compliant. All the restaurant inspections, we did treehouse inspection, we're doing Masonic soon, which will be a big inspection. So, they're rated one of the Masonic homes are rated very high as one of the best in the Commonwealth of Mass. So we certainly appreciate that. But as you can see from the pictures here, without going into further detail and not notifying anyone we're talking about it, but this
Yeah, looks like
will
it
be
needs
taken
some work.
care of
Yeah.
pretty quick.
That's good.
So.
That's good.
As you can see, if there's a fire, there's no fire stops because the walls have been taken out. So
Yeah.
it's at a dangerous
Well,
point.
one of the photos too, it looked like the door was totally blocked. It looks like a main door.
It is, and that was a concern of egress and ingress
Yeah.
for EMS and stuff, and I think that's where it started. So, kudos to them to even identifying it. So
Yeah.
before we came back, and person is still hospitalized. So we're hoping to get this taken care of before he's discharged. So,
Good,
but
good work. Anything else?
I'm sure I forgot something, but, you know, working with the complaints about our facility.
Oh, the LNG facility,
LNG, so,
yes, yeah.
So I'm working with Michelle Delmar on that, and it will be shut off this weekend, so you will not be awoken by the sound of a airport.
Jet
Jet
engine.
engine.
And I think they've taken it serious, and I'm trying to keep the board updated on working with. I worked with Michelle because it was cross jurisdictional, because the complainants were from Southbridge,
Yeah,
but the business is in Charlton. But they went to the siting board, so I called for assistance, and they immediately jumped on it, and they said it's not going to happen. They certainly were very responsive and took action, but we still don't have the results back, which I know are going to come back, 10 decibel over the 60, which is normal.
based on that video that I just looked at, yeah, I'd say
Pretty
so.
loud.
It's
So
loud.
Jim, what's the complaint there? Because I haven't heard about it.
Matt, I did send them all to you, but I on purpose sent them to your town of Charlton so it wouldn't go to your private email.
Okay.
Okay? But if you want, but I took precautions and sent it to your town of Charlton one rather than to the GAG, your regular private one. So if you want, tomorrow, if you're going to stop by, I can certainly update you and give them all in printed copies if you'd like.
All right, but basically it was noise.
Yeah, what they're doing is they're ramping up testing, so it sounds like a jet engine, basically. So we do have 2 complaints from residents in Southbridge, and now we have 1 complaint from a resident in Charlton, and Michelle Delmar and myself are working to make sure they're compliant, and this is not going to be a consistently hazard to the people that live there and have to listen to this. It's very loud.
Matt, to speak to that point, my home that I own is the second closest home to that plant. So we have pretty high intrinsic knowledge of the noise and the local noise complaint that was filed. So it's pretty shocking how loud it's been during the testing phase.
Okay.
So I have a video that I'm more than happy to share, literally from my back porch. It sounds like a jet engine inside my house at nighttime. So
Okay.
yeah, it's not. I mean, I didn't file the one as the Charlton resident today. However, I definitely have some experience with it.
Yep. Okay.
And just to let you know, Mr. Chairman, if I
Yeah,
may,
go ahead.
Matt, that the building commissioner, Kurt Meskis, has not signed off on the final for them, and he's been informed of the violation, so he's holding off.
Okay.
Well, that should get them some action.
So,
Yeah, because
My
apparently-
experience with those people is they're not going to mess around. They've been straight shooters from the very beginning, and I know they're going to take. I feel like they would take every action possible to address it. I don't think they're gonna stall for a second. I think they're on it.
I agree with you, Matt.
Yeah. Every interaction I've had as somebody locally truly affected with the company themselves, they've been very responsive and very transparent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As well as Michelle Delmar felt the same way, that they were very responsive to act upon her notification. She actually met with them all to discuss the situation, and they all agreed to do whatever they need to do to alleviate that noise so it doesn't happen on a consistent basis. Right now they're in testing mode, so they ramped it up as full max and let it run. So he feels that that's not going to be an issue unless something happens. So, but you're right, Matt. They are take it very serious, and they're going to do whatever they need to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Excellent. Thank you, Jim. Any other business unknown at the time of the posting from board members? There's nobody else left here.
None for me.
None.
None? All right. We will determine next Board of Health meeting. I don't have anything in the next 3 to 4 weeks coming up. That's February.
I got a calendar here now. Nope, that's on that one. Sorry, get another phone, Matt.
So, unless we have, I'm trying to think.
So
We don't have anything from Maynard Field that we know of. Thank you. Blighted properties are squared away to the best of our ability. And the hauler regulations now
Clean.
are all set to go. I'm thinking 4 weeks, if that's appropriate, which would take us to
The 26th.
the 26th of March.
Sounds good.
That works
Good
for
for
me.
that?
Yep.
All right. Drew doesn't care. He's probably available all the time. Jim, are you good for March 26th, 4 weeks from now?
Yes, I'll be out next week, but certainly there'll be no lapse in enforcement or anything that's
Right.
going on here. Kim and Emily and Andrea are here, but I'm taking my wife on a cruise, Matt.
Good for you.
So I'll be back on the 11th.
Okay. I hope the weather holds for you.
So do I.
All right, so tentatively, we will go with March 26th at 6 p.m. for our next meeting.
Sounds good.
If there's nothing else, I will take a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
I have a motion to adjourn. I'll give a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
I'll
Matt,
second it.
thank you very much. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting over at 7:02. Thank you
care.
very much.
Thank
Take
you.
care, Matt.
Bye, Matt.
Thanks.